be Métis is something that is ingrained, I think, in all of us from early on in childhood. And some of us learn it in different ways.
My dad grew up in Duck Lake, Saskatchewan, where it wasn't the thing to be back then. But where I grew up, a lot of Métis came from Saskatchewan and moved to BC for work. But it just happened that all of the people we hunted with and did that with were Métis too. It does mean a lot to me to live that way. It's not so much just eating wild meat and berries, it's being out there in the bush and being on the land.
Probably started hunting when I was probably about 7 years old, with my dad being his spotter, and I'm still recognized to be one of the best spotters for deer when I'm out hunting with anybody. And I know sometimes my dad would get up in the morning and he'd say, okay, daylight in the swampland for Daddy's little kidlings. And he said, who's coming hunting? And I've got a husband, and he comes out, we go out hunting together. And my grandchildren now, they're not really into it, but they love going just out in the outdoors and going camping and with us and stuff like that. And then my grandchildren, they all into the harvesting also, so yeah.
My father is not Aboriginal, but he is a hardcore hunter, and in fact, he grew up amongst the Métis and the Cree people in northern Saskatchewan. He was a Cree speaker, he was fluent. My grandmother's first language was Cree. She never learned English till she went to school. My father even imparted that kind of heritage to me because he grew up with Métis people, so he understood their land use.
My father was from around the Saddle Lake area and out of Alberta, and my mother was from St. Paul, Alberta, in Ducommun. They moved to BC and moved to a place called Willow River, which is about 18 miles from here. We would come into a place called Island Cache, which is now the Cottonwood Park, and go for the music and on the weekends and stuff, and you learn to dance and everything.
Traditional knowledge is something that you usually learn from a parent, which would have been my dad naturally, and my brother, and it's just the love of the land and just wanting to be part one-on-one with the land and going out and respecting Mother Nature the way everybody should. I harvest berries like Saskatoons, choke cherries, anything I can pretty well get my hand on. I got my second youngest grandson in that, and he loves my choke cherry jelly, so he actually came out last year and he harvested with me, and that which I thought was kind of nice.
I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandfather had a small ranch, so we learned how to live off the land and respect, the land, the animals, and just use what was needed. What my grandfather instilled was, like, if you're going to do something, do it right, or don't do it at all, because all you might have is your name.
Traditional Métis knowledge is an odd thing. It's complicated too, and the reason it is it's our culture that we take pieces from both of our main heritages, which is First Nations and non-Aboriginal. And we use those things that fit our use best. So a lot of our traditional land use really is not much different than First Nations.
The Métis people and Aboriginal people, they kind of think of it on the forever ever plan. They don't want just what's going to happen next week or anything. One of our elders up there, his hunting party, there was usually 8 of them in the group. They would take 4 animals. That was enough. Once they got 4, they'd quit. No more. They're allowed to take more, but you take care of the land, and it's, because if it's not there, I want it there for my grandkids and everything. It's a different way of looking at it. You don't have to get it all right now. There has to be some there for tomorrow.
Section 35 rights is top-notch, number 1 for all of the captains, and as MNBC we need to honor and listen to them and bring them to all our meetings and bring their voices forward.
Right now I live on the west coast of Vancouver Island. I'm way deep in the bush. I have my trap line there. I trap, I hunt, I fish, and we are part of the natural system in that area. It's who we are. We've always been harvesters. We've always been on the land. This is part of our heritage, part of our rights.
It's a respect thing, and I think you should be doing the proper hunting and fishing according to the laws. I really feel that we're very far behind to the First Nations people, and which kind of bothers me quite a bit. But I think if we work in the right way with the government, that we should figure things out on that issue.
The rates persist, but the recognition of them is a problem. And I would like to see a couple of things happen. One is the recognition of those by the Canadian BC governments. And I would like to reestablish some of our traditions within the Métis communities. As with a lot of people, we've become more removed from the land, but it's an important part of our culture.
A lot of times it's a hurry up and wait process, and you don't feel like you're progressing very far. But one thing we are doing is we're gathering our resources together. And I'm talking primarily human resources to look at issues and apply our kind of collective will to that. You know, we can't go and force the government to do something for us. You know, that's a joke. But we can keep pounding away at the issues, and if we have the information on our side, and if we have, you know, essentially the rights on our side, eventually that will work out. And BCMANR is the tool that we use to address that towards governments. Even though I have a lot of concerns about the future, I'm really actually quite optimistic. And the reason I have to be is because of my grandchildren and their children as they come to be. As a Métis person, I need to be able to take them to the land.
And when I was maybe 18, 19, 20 years old, we did hunting, and I was out there and shot a lot of game in my time. Then I started hunting with my kids and my grandkids and everything. Your success rate goes way down, but your enjoyment level goes way up.
I've got 5 grandchildren. I would like them to have the ability to go and do this stuff, but also the ability to do it well. It's an opportunity and ability. So along with harvesting, the stewardship is an important part, and our kids need to be able to do both of those and to do it well. It's not just a matter of going out and taking, but it's a matter of managing and that stewardship part.
That's what we have done all our lives, and that's what we need to continue to teach the younger people, to get them out on the land and to just feel comfortable and to know who they are. In order to know where you're going, you need to know where you come from, and so we need to know who we are.